Hello everyone, Pratima here. A couple of days ago, I published my review of the Poco X6 Pro, and today I have the standard Poco X6, which one of my team members has been using for over a week now. In this video, I will tell you all about our experiences with it, so let's start. I am not sure about the pricing of this phone yet, but I'm expecting it to launch for some 20,000 rupees in India or some $250. But you can check them out from this screen animation right here. Okay, first let me show you what all you get inside the box, which includes all the basics, SIM card ejector, paperwork, this great cover that every Xiaomi phone of 2024 seems to have, and then we have this phone. I have this in this soft blue color variant, while it is also available in black and white finishes. Finally, we get a 67-watt charger with a compatible USB-A to C charger. Alright, now if you look at the specs of the Poco X6, you might have a little deja vu because it is exactly the same phone as the Redmi Note 13 Pro with only a few details changed. But that's not a bad thing because this one's actually cheaper, and in my experience, I've found it to provide a good experience, especially in the performance department. It is powered by the Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 chipset, which is not the most powerful in this price segment, but it does offer a balanced performance, whether it is in normal everyday usage or while gaming. And needless to say, it is a hell of an upgrade over the Snapdragon 695 on the Poco X5. I was able to play PUBG Mobile with a near 60 FPS average on this phone. There were some minor frame drops every once in a while, but the gameplay was perfectly smooth overall. And under high graphics and max frame rate settings, Call of Duty also ran without any hiccups at 60 FPS, although it does not have a 90 FPS option at the moment. But heavier titles like Genshin Impact do take a toll on the Poco X6, as even on the low graphics option, I noticed some frame drops every now and then. It was all the same with high FPS ready games like Mech Arena, where the phone also got the hottest out of all the games I played. This is probably because the X6 does not have a vapor chamber cooling system like the Poco X6 Pro. But then again, I never noticed this phone getting uncomfortably warm even in my gaming tests. It did climb at around 40 degrees Celsius in some of them, but that's it. So I don't think it's fair to complain about it. However, I did notice a few software bugs here, which I am hoping Poco will get fixed with updates soon. There were times when some apps froze for no apparent reason, while I would get Messenger's notifications much too late or sometimes not at all on this thing. Likewise, as expected, you get a ton of bloatware apps here, which might leave you with a sour taste as far as the user experience is concerned. So yeah, I really wish Poco would have put some effort into polishing the MIUI for this phone. Yes, you heard it right. Unlike its Pro sibling that indeed ships with HyperOS based on Android 14, the Poco X6 comes with Android 13 with MIUI 14 on top. And yes, Poco has promised that HyperOS update will arrive on this phone soon, but in my opinion, it should have been a part of the out-of-the-box experience. This also means that it will only receive updates until 2026, so the clever marketing of 3 years of OS updates is actually not fair towards the customers. Okay, now let's talk about the design. The Poco X6 has a classic Poco look with a bold camera design that you may or may not dig. But what I can tell you is that it actually feels quite premium when you're holding this phone, since it has a glass sandwich build. Poco has also secured IP54 dust and splash resistance for this guy, and it's also got all the other basics, including a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is frustratingly missing on the Poco X6 Pro. I guess the only thing that I'm not a fan of here is that it catches fingerprint smudges way too easily, like you wouldn't believe it. So that soft case has been my best friend with the Poco X6 ever since I started using this phone. Alright, so if you look at the spec sheet, the Poco X6 and X6 Pro have an identical display, from their size to 120Hz refresh rate, brightness levels, and in-display fingerprint reader, everything. What all this means is that this is a fantastic screen to look at, whether you're trying to binge watch something or just do about anything else. I am also happy to report that this phone does not sharpen content on YouTube like the Redmi Note 13 Pro does, which means this phone will give you a great visual experience. It even has Corning's Gorilla Glass Victus protection up front, which has much better scratch and drop resistance. So I'm really glad to see that Poco is pushing the boundaries once again to what's possible on an affordable phone. But looking beyond the specs, I found a couple of interesting quirks with this screen. The first one is that right out of the box, the Poco X6 actually has better color calibration with near natural white balance. And this is almost immediately noticeable when you're watching something that is not very colorful. The Poco X6 also has no trouble playing Dolby Vision videos on Netflix either, but it cannot stream HDR videos on YouTube yet for some reason. This is something that I noticed on the Redmi Note 13 Pro as well, so I hope the company is working on a fix as we speak. The stereo speakers here are also good enough in terms of details and everything. Its haptic feedback is also quite pleasant while typing and all, but it's not strong enough for you to not miss calls and notifications. It's better than most other mid-range phones out there though. I have good things to say about its battery life too, as it easily gave me a day and a half on light to medium usage. Even on days with a lot of web browsing, binging movies and camera usage, I was still getting around 7 hours of screen on time, which is incredible. And when I'm in a rush, I like how I can get around 50% juice after plugging it in for around 15 minutes, while a full charge takes a little more than 40 minutes on the Poco X6. Finally, let's now talk about the cameras, and purely from a hardware perspective, the Poco X6 brings an identical camera setup as the X6 Pro, down to the sensors, the lenses, everything. And if you watched my review of the Poco X6 Pro, you already know that its cameras were just okay for my taste. But since the Poco X6 is a much cheaper phone, I actually won't complain about its camera quality. During good lighting conditions, you can actually get some decent shots with good enough details and natural light color processing. It does struggle with highlight processing and dynamic range management sometimes, especially when you're shooting against the sun, but other than that, the pictures from it are not bad. The ultra-wide-angle images are just average as expected, with little details to talk about. The phone is able to handle human subjects well though. The skin tone does not look overdone, and unless you're in front of an extremely bright background, the processing is good enough for you to get some decent shots for social media. The selfies are nice too, the skin tone looks good, and the sharpness is not overdone. And since the Poco X6 does not miss out on OIS, nighttime images come out sharp enough, although if you want the best output, you might want to turn on night mode. It takes a second or two to process the image, but you end up with a better exposed and detailed shot. For videos, you get up to 4K 30fps resolution support from the back cameras, and you can take some really good quality still videos from it. Moving videos do tend to experience a little bit of EIS jitters, but for the price, the video quality in terms of colors and sharpness is not bad. Alright everybody, that was all for my full review of the all-new Poco X6, and it's pretty clear that this is one of those jack-of-all kind of mid-range phones that checks almost all the boxes, be it in terms of performance, design, display, or battery life. The software experience and the camera optimization side of things are not its strongest suit, but I hope Poco keeps on improving it as they did last year with the X5 Pro and the Poco F5. So yeah, if you don't need that pro performance which you get with the Poco X6 Pro, the Poco X6 is a nice value in 2024. Alright everybody, that was all for this video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and while you're there, don't forget to subscribe. Saying this, I'm Pratima and thank you so much for watching.